Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Game of Money podcast. I'm Oren Klaff. I'm here with Mikey Lucas from the American Energy Fund. And if there's one thing you want to know about the American Energy Fund, it is American. So let's dive into that. I think most people know by this point, I'm building a large factory in Texas, and its job is to ship American products to American homes. We disintermediate or we block a product having to come from India, China, Vietnam, Malaysia, and places worse than that by making it in Texas. I think we make 1,200 pounds. It's very laborious to get it in from India, and nobody wants things in their home, in the American household, that's from India, Vietnam, or Malaysia. Well, we buy it for sure, right? If it's cheap and it fills and some things we should buy from overseas, like, China, a toaster. There's no reason to buy an American toaster. Doesn't provide any extra value, probably doesn't provide, a high quality job, doesn't make your home better. And there's reasons you would buy a toaster, but the stuff that we sell is best made in Texas, is best shipped to American homes. But tell me about the American Energy Fund.
Thanks for having me on, Oren. Appreciate it. I really look forward to this. American Energy Fund is a 506c Reg D energy fund investing into the sustainability of American energy future. Basically, I know for sure that the future is going to look like lots of wars if we don't bring back domestic energy.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to stop your child and my future children to go to war over American interest in the Middle East, the only way to do that is to domesticate it.
It's pretty clear in oil and gas trading, that is a lot of that data is public. You can trade gas, you can trade oil futures, you can trade Brent crude.
Yep.
You could just jump into that as a trader tomorrow and buy and sell. So hard because you have really perfect information, right? Everybody knows what Brent crude is today. There's lots of data on where it's going to be tomorrow, and you really have to either be able to control the market or have some kind of insight or have some long thesis like Nissan Taleb to be able to Black Swan. Interesting trading thesis is that you lose money on every single trade just a little bit until your Black Swan thesis actually happens and you make a huge amount of money.
Right.
I hate it, not made for people like me to be investing in that style. So very hard to make money in fossil fuels because there's perfect information and everybody's trading on the same information that is available to everybody. So you either have to be able to move the market or you have to have some insight that nobody else has, or you have to be super lucky. 3 ways to make money in that. So now you move into these other alternative technologies and you can make money in both energy and the technological insight.
Right.
So in your mind and in your fund, how do you identify new areas that in a high probability can make money?
How do we identify them? Again, market trends. So what's the most efficient energy that you can get on the market within a year? A natural gas power plant. So the best time to get into natural gas is when it's at its all-time low, which was like a year ago.
Yeah.
So obviously the hard part is it's like Bitcoin at 16,000, no one wants to buy. And I'm over here shouting from the rooftop, hey guys, I'm buying Bitcoin, and now it's at whatever, 100 grand now.
Right.
And so it's the same concept. And that's the hard part about the American investor is that they only like to buy when it's at the top and sell at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. It's a perspective change where one of my investment philosophies is invest like a billionaire, not like a millionaire. Because billionaires, they're able to see trends and then make a trend out of that, buying it low and selling it high. It's not rocket science.
And so do you buy positions or you're actually buying infrastructure?
Both. What we're doing is we're structuring where it's preferred positions within the oil and gas companies or the solar companies that we're in. So the hard part about me was in my early career of investing, I basically made 100% emotional decisions. And most of those went to zero. And so I've got some scars, I've got some wounds. And now I realize that I'm no longer, with my money or my investors' money, ever going to be paid last. I want to be the bank. I want to be paid first. And not only that, I'm okay with not making 20, 30, 40%. I'm okay with making 10, 8, 12%. As long as I'm paid first.
Yeah.
And so right now it's a matter of structuring the deals to get paid first and buying either equity, convertible debt usually is what we'll do. A large portion of it's convertible debt. So we'll get 10, 15, 20% on the convertible note and then on the note and then convert that into equity. And now we have a GP stake, an ownership stake within that company as well.
Yeah. So walk me through a transaction size. How do you originate a transaction.
Yep.
What transaction size is in your buy box?
Yep.
And then let's talk through like a deal structure.
Originating them is really just through networking. So that's the reason why I sold everything and went and got out of solar and moved. Like they say, if you want to learn Spanish, move to Mexico City. If you want to learn oil and gas and you want to compete with in the big leagues, move to Houston, Texas.
Yeah, it's funny. I tell people all the time in my presentation, I go, if you live in Gilbert, Arizona, and you found a tech deal, like that tech deal had to somehow get from where tech deals actually happen, which is Palo Alto, to Gilbert, Arizona, because any good tech deal is not going, hey man, let's go anywhere else except for Palo Alto, Atherton, Bay Area, to Embarcadero, Sand Hill Road. Why would you? That's where the money is. That's where the deals are. That's where the people are. There's a velocity of deals. That's where the ideas are. That's where you could go to the Starbucks on Sand Hill Road and get a deal done more likely than you can get a deal done in Bangor, Maine. And so why would a deal ever leave that ecosystem? Because it was of such a poor quality that everybody laughed at it. So it got laughed out of town. And then it went down to San Diego. And people would say, raise a little bit of money. And then people started laughing at it and being like, oh, that's a joke deal. And then it had to move concentrically out till it finds a rube in Gilbert, Arizona. It was like, check out this amazing deal that I found. No, if it was an amazing deal, it would be where amazing deals are, called the Bay Area.
Right.
And the same thing with movies, talk about it all the time. Hollywood, they're not making great movies in Destin, Florida, right? There's no studio finance, there's no restaurants that studio executives would eat at.
Right.
There's no cameras, there's no sound guys, there's no camera rental. Like you can't do it. To make a movie that you can make in Hollywood for $10 million costs you $150 million in Florida because there's nothing there. You have to import everything. If you're going to be in the oil business, you're not doing that in
Las Vegas, Nevada.
In Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing it in Houston. So I think it's a larger conversation of these ecosystems. Like when you find a deal, just make sure you're not out of ecosystem with that deal because you're not that smart to be able to find a great oil deal out of Newark, Delaware.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So you move to Houston. That's where the oil deals are.
Yep.
And you're learning Spanish at the same time.
Correct.
Yes.
And Portuguese at the same time, actually.
So there's lots of deal flow there.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that assists your origination engine because now you're actually in the ecosystem and you're seeing deals.
I'm glad this is going to be on the internet forever because I'll look back at this and say, wow, that was awesome. It is the fake it till I make it right now because we're the little engine that could. We're just I was stunned that American Energy Fund was still available. First of all, the name, I was like, this is genius. Now, the main thing here is that I basically just told people, we have money. What deals do you have? And so I went and I looked at a map, a real estate map, and I looked up the largest values of homes. And I saw the red, which is on the app that I was using, red. And I poked a middle in the red, which was $2 million and above. And I started looking at high rises right there. I wanted to be where they're eating, where they're dining, where they're playing, where they're walking their dogs, things like that. The coffee shop across my street is a bunch of different oil and gas companies and banks and things like that finance these deals. So I wanted to be around that at all times. I wanted to be checking out, being able to have a conversation or listen to people having conversations in the checkout line at Whole Foods across the street from my house about doing this whatever energy deal. So that's what I did. Was it a risk? Absolutely. But it obviously paid off, and it has paid off since then. So we get deals sent to us on a daily basis. I would get calls. It's annoying. I set that up. I did it on purpose, but I need to, just like you've talked about and taught me in the past, is I need to be looking at deals because door-to-door sales for me, which is what I did before this in residential solar, that taught me how to have a BS radar of 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
And so I can tell if someone's really pushing it. Now, I always tell people, look, you might be able to get me over a breakfast, but you're not going to get me over breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
I'll be able to sniff it out. Basically, yeah, again, I go to all of these events and join these clubs and things like that. And the cool part is that I go in as a solar guy. And obviously I'm American Energy Fund, but I go in as the solar guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because those oil guys, all of a sudden within the last 2 years, 3 years now, have really started to say, what's up with this solar thing? Because before it was, again, black versus white, pulling against each other. It was 100% solar. Solar is going to destroy oil and gas and vice versa. You get it. But now these guys are actually interested. And so now they want to know. And then obviously I just say, I worked for Elon Musk, and they go, oh, wow, they love Elon.
So you look at a deal, and so walk me through the buy box. So what are the economics of a deal that looks like it can have the yield threshold you're looking for, the safety you're looking for, the hold period you're looking for, the management team you're looking for, and the asset class makes sense as something that you can underwrite?
Really, there's 4 different assets that we like to purchase, but I'll talk in a broad spectrum here. So if we can't get our money back within 2 to 3 years, we're not even looking at the deal. So right off the rip, if we get a proposal or a pitch deck and it's the oil and gas marker, the markers are based off of 80, 90, $100 a barrel, it's immediately in the trash because that's where oil is at right now. But that I don't think that's where oil is going to be at. So we go based off of the 40-year average, which is right around $45, $50 a barrel. So if we can't make money, if we can't get our money back within 2 years, 3 years, based off of $40, $50 oil, then it's completely gone. And so it's hard. It really is hard because you're like, who do you trust? Oren, I really like you. I would give you my money. I really like you. But it's not about you. It's about who's behind you and what systems and processes you have. Because if you don't care about my money as much as I care about my money, how can I trust you?
In a $1 to $5 million deal, how much of the deal are you, how much money are they raising and how much of the deal are you?
Most of the deals that we're getting into are anywhere between 10 to 160. The highest is 163 million. So we're getting very small stakes in these deals. But again, that's one of the keys is that I've been able to, I guess you can say, manipulate or finagle my way into the room. And these guys, they see me as a value add.
When you say you have a preferred return, so what's the specific security that you're buying? So it's a convertible debt instrument.
Convertible debt, also known as private credit. So we're going in and we're seeing a company who has a track record between anywhere between 2 to 5 years consistently in the last specifically 2 to 5 years. Now, obviously, we're hoping that they've had 30, 40, 50 years of expertise, generational expertise in that specific rock, which is the most important part because anybody can drill oil. You and I can go dig a hole, but someone that knows how to extract the oil out of the ground with that specific rock or sand is the most important part.
Totally agree.
Very important part.
So you have that equipment, those people in that geography, and you run into those problems before, and that's part of their track record.
Correct.
Okay. For Joe Bag of Donuts, we have a lot of sales guys here. We have people, entrepreneurs. Explain to them your interpretation of convertible debt.
Convertible debt is where we give you a loan, like a bridge loan, okay, to be able to go and do the due diligence or to acquire an M&A, merger and acquisition. They go and buy 1,000 acres in North Texas, okay, where Chevron and Shell are at. They go buy just outside of Chevron's land, and we give them a loan anywhere between $1 million to $2.5 million. And we now come in as a partner and loan them that money. Now, ideally, where we start at is 200% collateralized. So we want to make sure that we're going to get our money back. So we actually have them.
A lot of people listening to this will say, hey, I've got my core business, right? And I don't want to dork with that. It produces lifestyle. It produces money. It can be, I know a guy with a $150 million core business, but throws off $15 million a year. I don't want to take any more risk in that business or destabilize it. I don't want to grow faster, slower. It works perfectly. No need to mess with perfection. But I'd like to take my money and put it into other people's business that at a higher risk profile for a higher return. And so you sound like a perfect vehicle for doing that. So now I can go put capital to work in a secured environment and look for returns that growth on capital that I can't get in my own business.
Correct.
And so for people who are interested in doing that, how do you think about security? So when you say, okay, we put in $2 million, but we collateralize it with 200% security, what is that? And if there's a default, how do you go get that security and how does that actually play itself out?
The good old foreclosure process. So it's
and foreclosure against what?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have a house, that's easy, right? You're like, clear out, the sheriff shows up. It's not a house. This is some kind of either if it's just a bridge financing or if it's search financing, what asset are you collateralizing?
They will have land.
I see.
Most of the time they'll have land, equipment, and other wells. So we'll have them put those up as collateral. And so here's the really quick story on that, because it's really important to understand this part, is that specifically on oil and gas side, the mid cap and small cap oil and gas companies that are private, they're too big for small business loans and too small for big bank loans. And what's been happening is it's unfortunate, but it is like we were talking about a little bit earlier with the deep state economy, is that these major companies are coming in and they are over pumping, or even companies and countries are pumping in oil so that they can drown out the small cap and mid cap companies. So now these companies who are great, Oren, at what they do, Now they don't. Now, not only that, they can't even get funding for this anymore. Now, sure, could they wait around and maybe wait till they get the money from their oil and gas wells? Sure, but guess what? When's the best time to drill? When the price is super super high. If they don't have the money, then what are they going to do? They missed the boat. The bus has left again.
Yeah.
Now they got to wait for the cycle to go again. So basically, in the short term, when it comes to the collateralized debt, we look for companies and we get under the hood. We see exactly what they're doing, what their due diligence was, and we basically can consult these companies. I never thought in a million years that they would let me consult their company, but they actually value our opinion.
And who does the underwriting? So looks at the spreadsheet and comes up with an analysis. So describe me the fund, like who's in the fund, how many people are there, what does the org chart look like?
So right now it's a partner and I.
Yeah.
And then we have some contractors. We're trying to stay as lean and nimble as we possibly can so that we can return capital to the investors. So we're doing a lot of it ourselves. And not only that, I've been building out AI to be able to help us with our due diligence on these jobs by, guess what, reading books. So I went to Barnes & Noble, Amazon, bought every single oil and gas book that I could probably possibly find, every private equity, every venture capital, every book that I could possibly find on these. And not one of them ever said that you were going to lose all your money. But that is unfortunately what has been happening. And if you look at history in Americans investing into energy, they've lost a lot of money. And so how do we now shift that and actually make investing into energy something that is actually profitable, what they used to call, right, oil money?
So I love it that still in America, you can move to Houston, you can consume media, you can put yourself in the mix and deploy capital. And so people think that the Rockefeller America is gone and you have to somehow be a crypto bro or just be in technology. This is an amazing story. You can still set your mind to it. You can still go in. So my takeaways from talking to you is you got to put yourself in the middle of an ecosystem. You have to consume all the content, right? And you have to get into deals. And I think this is a good inspiration for you, deals that are your size. Too many people are like, hey, I'm going to be $1 billion this. And we throw around the word billion too easily. I'm going to be $1 billion that, $1 billion this. But you got to get into deals that are at your punching weight. You know, when you start your boxing career, you don't sign up for Tyson Fury, right? You sign up, you go to your local gym and you sign up for a match and you're fighting some other 158-pound guy that has the same experience that you have. You don't sign up for somebody who's been doing it. So you sign up for fights that you can win in deal size. And then you commit. I think the other thing, you develop a thesis. You get a sense of like where macro, this is deal making 101 and you're executing on it perfectly. So you're very impressive the way you're doing it. I want to give the guys a treat here because you're so experienced at it. I want to talk a little bit about origination or meeting somebody cold and converting them to warm. Because you say you go to networking events, which I don't go to. I'm very dysfunctional in them for lots of reasons. But you go to a networking event and you walk in, and do you know people there, or it's just like a sea of cold faces?
Usually I know one or two, if not zero.
For me, it's worse that I know somebody because I'm just like hanging on to them and acting weird and trying to jump into conversations awkwardly. It's better that I just fall on my face. So you go there, one person, which is 1, 0, that's the same thing. And how many people are at this event?
Anywhere between 20 to 100, 150. If
so
not,
even worse is 100. Like I'm just doing the like nightmare situation. So you walk in, there's 100 people there, 1 or 0 people. There's people in the room who you would love to talk to. Those people are the least interested in talking to you. By definition, they want to talk to people above them, not to people below them.
Right.
And so where do you start if you get dropped into that scenario?
I think that comes back from the door-to-door sales. In my experience, I was taught to, when you're leaving the gym, if you're walking past somebody, say hello, say something, compliment them. So I got really comfortable with doing the uncomfortable.
I never do that.
So I learned that 10 years ago, and I've been practicing that. So it wasn't second nature to me. I'm actually an introverted extrovert. So I do well around a lot of people, but I'd rather jam like this.
Yeah,
so,
I'm the same way. If I have to go in those environments, I have to get put on my super suit. It's totally exhausting. I know people can do it for days or hours on end. For me, I'm going into an NFL game. Like every play, I'm taking hits, I'm getting bruised, my psyche is getting injured. It's super hard. I can do it, but it's hard. So you go there, but talk to me some moves.
Yeah, getting business cards is nothing, but you do want to get the business cards, and then you want to follow up. That is the hardest part.
So get me in the paint here. How do you get a business? I don't have business cards.
Yeah.
Right. I had a funny thing. I had a billionaire standing right there where that car is parked. And he goes to me, "Hey man, can I get your business card?" He was at one of my events.
Yeah.
And I go, "My business card, you're standing on it."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he was like, "Bye." So he did come back around and try and get my email address, and we met everything. But I don't have a business card, but I'm going to get some following this conversation because I do get dropped into those environments. All right. So you've got business cards in your pocket, and then walk me through the specifics. You see somebody that you want to talk to.
Yep.
How do you know you want to talk to them? There's 100 people in the room.
I don't know I want to talk to them.
Wow.
I have no idea. So I'm honest. I'm just fishing. So I'm a big fisherman, avid fisherman. The hard part is about how to get out of the conversation. I think it's a lot easier to start conversations, but when you're in a really good, flourishing room, there's a lot of people that can either help you get to the next level or you can help them get to the next level. Is you need to learn how to be very good about getting out.
Who's in there's 100 people. You can't talk to, it's an hour. You're going to be there for an hour. You can't talk to 100 people. How many people can you talk to in an hour without being weird?
Probably at most 5 or 6.
Okay, great. You got to do some filtering.
Yeah.
All right. How do you put people in your talk box?
I'm more interested in them than I am interesting.
You're targeting, you're flying F-16, you're in enemy territory.
I got the answer.
Your thing is going, your radar is going, it's finding an enemy box and it's going, what heat signals are you looking for that says, I'm going to talk to this person over this person?
I'll go and grab some water or a coffee or something like that and start mingling. And as I'm in a conversation, I'm not really in the conversation. I haven't really engaged yet. Okay. But I'm around the person that I brought, and then I'm actually scanning. So I'm scanning the entire time. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm scanning the entire time. A couple of things I'm looking for is body language, facial expressions, and then is there people coming up and crowding around other people?
So you're looking for somebody with a relative high status.
Yeah, looking for status.
So you're looking for somebody with high status that other people are reflecting up to, and you go, hey, that seems like somebody who controls some in this environment, probably has resources, because that's a proxy for status in a business event, is somebody who controls resources.
Right.
So Larry Ellison from Oracle walks in, Oren Klaff walks in, people crowd around Larry Ellison, and people try and get away from Oren Klaff. Okay, understood. And so you find somebody who's in the middle. If somebody, like lots of people around, you're like, that's too much of a cat fight to try and get into that high status of a person and claw my way up. I don't have enough time. Yep. I have a picture. I did that. I wish I had it up. I had it up yesterday. Me and Carlos Slim, 15th richest guy in the world, $68 billion. We were in an event together. And so I do this, right? I'm like, I'm not going to be in an event with 100 people in here and Carlos Slim and not talk to him. And so I ended up talking to him. I got a photo of us together and we started doing a deal together. As much as I say I don't do this, I guess I do. And so Carlos Slim was the example of the very difficult target, right? Because everybody knows he's got $68 billion and you're having to worm your way through a bunch. So that's too big of a target for an event like this. You find somebody with some social status, all right, and they're what's next?
Let me go back because I'm coming, this specific, what I'm talking about is I know nobody in this room. I don't even know, I have no idea. Now, if there is somebody
but you're looking for signs of social stature.
Yeah, it's a totally different ballgame if I knew Oren was in the room and I go, hey, Oren, how's the new Hummer?
Yeah.
Have you got Sideswipe PX? I heard that the wheels hang over the lines.
It's so funny. The Hummer, so I drive it to work and it's not a new one. It's not the EV. It's the opposite of it. It's the 1999 diesel 6.6 liter Allison transmission engine. And we're here in Southern California. And I would say I had only seen people like wave and be happy or thumbs up. But now that I drive it enough, you drive some people and they're like honking. And I don't drive it very far. It's polluting for sure. I don't drive it very far, but it's super fun to drive. But some people hate it.
Right.
That's how the Hummer is. You don't know anybody, and you don't know that they have a Hummer, or you don't know anything about them, but you do know they represent some kind of stature. Yep. And you're an affable person, and you're used to talking to people. What happens?
Just your elevator conversations. Are you from here? How long you been in oil and gas for? What are you looking to get out of here? And I'll tell a little bit of like a very short, purposeful statement. I just moved here from Las Vegas, and then usually either Vegas. I love Vegas. Oh, no way. Where do you stay? So it's certain things of my background I've been able to use as cards I go, oh no, you're at Mandalay Bay. My dad used to work at Mandalay Bay. Who was your host there or whatever? So I'm able to use my background, my history to be able to get them to say, oh, tell me more about yourself.
I generally find that ends up in one of two conversations. One of somebody's, this is a random conversation. I'm here to talk to people who are at a higher level conversation. Or two, somebody else going, thank God somebody's talking to me. I found a friend, and they get into a personal discourse that's hard to get out of. And so I struggle to get, I love people. I love in conversations I get absorbed into them too deeply, and I'm too many layers deep, and it's hard to extract myself. So I find somebody looking for a friend, or I find somebody who is willing to have a little bit of this casual conversation, but they realize there's not enough meat and potatoes here for what they're trying to accomplish. That's how I find those go. Is there a third one, or is that generally the fork?
Ultimately, I'm trying to dissect what they want.
So you figure out what they're there for. So you have a little bit about, let's do it. I'm getting water. You come up.
What's going on? What's your name?
I'm Oren.
Oren, Mikey, nice to meet you.
Hey, Mike.
Are you from Houston? From San Diego, sorry?
Yeah, San Diego, I've been here for 10, 15 years, yeah.
No way. Yeah, my family, they're Portuguese out of Point Loma.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we're in North County.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nice to meet you.
Likewise. What do you do?
Anybody else here? I'm trying to do some deals and meeting some friends here, and buying, selling.
Anything exciting on the horizon?
I know when I see it. I look at deals, and we're here. We do some private credit. We like to get a 12 to 14% return on our asset, but we're very specific in the kind of assets that we look for.
Awesome. Yeah. If I know anybody, I'd love to, if I can help you out and get you some deals, I can introduce you to some people. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think in general, we're looking for a commercial real estate that is undeveloped but developable, that has already a set of permits with it, and it's past the coastal commission. So we find something like that, then we take a hard look at it.
Red state, blue state, doesn't matter?
Coastal California.
Coastal California, cool. I don't have anything right now, but I'd love to, I'll get your contact. You have social media?
We have our website.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
intersectioncapital.com.
If I find a deal that you'd want to jump all over, would you want me to send it to you?
Oh, yeah, definitely stay in touch. Nice meeting you. Nice young man. Yeah.
Yeah, here's my business card. What's a good number? You want me to text you or email you?
If you just look at the website, like all of our information is on there.
Cool. Yeah. So go through the website to find you.
Yeah.
Do I have to knock on your door, or should I just, if I find this, I'm not gonna get anything out of this. I just want to help you out. If you don't want it, you can just tell me no. It's okay. I'm just a random guy in this 1 out of 1,000 here, 100 here. If I can't help you out, obviously I won't.
So just contact information on the website. I'll try and remember. You got a memorable face. If I see your name pop up, say hello again.
Sounds good. Okay, cool. So from there, all right, dead at that point.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, cool. Walk away. At that point, if that guy obviously has high status.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to push that, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to burn the bridge. But what I am going to do is I'm now going to stalk this person in a righteous way.
Yeah.
I'm now going to figure out who this person is, and now I'm going to start showing up. We used to call this church stalking. When I found my wife, I started showing up to all the women's conferences and all the extracurricular stuff. And I'm like, oh, no way, we're worshiping at the same place. Look at this.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So if I don't go in, this is, I think, what people have a hard time with, is they think they got to get the sale now.
Right.
And for me, it's not about that, because that didn't seem like natural to me. I was like, oh, I'm already out of this. This guy's turned off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that somehow, some way, that guy or the people that I do end up having a conversation with notice me in the room doing something different. Or that I'm at another, okay, we're at NAPE, and I run into you again. Hey, good to see you. Did you guys end up getting those coastal deals done? Good job, man.
The reason that conversation was authentic to me, because from my side, what will happen is people approach me all the time with this sort of networking. And what I'm looking for is so specific. I'm looking for access to the Fed discount window.
Yep.
And I got a 30-year-old guy here that's talking to people in an event. And there's this Muhammad and the mountain are not coming together on this one. Right. I just try and be polite, and I don't mind telling people who I am and everything like that. So that's why it felt like cold, because I'm running a script that I have to run at events. It happens to me all the time, where there's zero chance that this kid is going to get me into the free money window at JP Morgan, which is what I'm really looking for. So my buy box is high and it's small. Mm-hmm. Right. And and I'm doing radar, reading the other way on just age, status, stature. So I get in that situation all the time. But I love where you go with that is you don't mark that down to zero or say that's a loss. Mm-hmm. You say I've got a name and a start of a relationship in a community.
A couple keys that, like, some really good nuggets that we can take away from this is that now I'm going to find you on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of that. And now I'm going to have my team comment on everything, every post that you like, comment, and then also even tag. So if I like Oren Klaff's one of your posts recently, I'll tag. If I want to get your attention, I'm going to tag 10, 15 people.
Yeah.
And so how I've learned that from very successful guys to do that. If you want to get in front of somebody, get all over the social media. So that's a big thing. So if you want to get in front of Oren, one way to do that is by liking all of his stories, liking all of his posts, and commenting, and then promoting and actually then tagging you.
Excellent. And I give huge credit for doing that. I take a very different approach, which is much harder. The way I do it is to spend 400 hours making a world-class piece of content and then putting that content out there and then letting people get pulled in by the gravitational pull of the quality. But if you, that costs money and that costs time and it takes expertise. And like I'm running Oren Klaff full strength, at my age and my full career to pull that off at a pretty decent level.
Yeah.
If you're 20 years earlier or 30 years earlier, than where I am, I definitely don't recommend it. That is like, it is playing. It's almost the way I do it, like smacking sport. People like smack each other. It's like it's the smacking sport itself.
Dude.
Terrible. It's like super hard on you. You have to have like an iron jaw to do it. Maybe bad example, but it's very hard to do it the way I do it. And I love the way you're doing it because anybody can do it, and it just requires a little bit of skill. I don't want to discount your charisma and capability, but it requires a little bit of skill, a little bit of tenacity, being a good person, and showing up. Right. And so if I had it all to do over again, I would do it that way.
When you started doing this, there wasn't Instagram, Facebook, TikTok like it was now. It's very easy to get in front of people now. And I think that in the case of networking, I think people, again, are trying to get the deal right now. This feels like a pest control sale or an alarm sale where I have to get it on the doorstep. This is the capital markets.
The only thing I would say is we do that. I offer my deal. I walk people through it. I say, where are you on it? Because at the skill level I'm at, I covered everything.
Right.
And there's nothing missing. If you want a better deal than this, I don't have it.
Right.
And so this is a very different system where I've pitched hundreds of deals. This is pitched as well as a deal can be pitched. It has everything in it. I've done it in a short amount of time. I put everything that you would need to know to at least take the next step and say, I love it. And so if you don't love it, here's the problem. I don't have anything better. I'm very likely never to have anything better, maybe as good, but not better. So we're at a dead stop.
Right.
And in that way, while I don't require somebody to say, I'm in, I do require them to say, I'm out, or I want to take the next step.
Right.
Everything that they would need to make a decision to move forward. And if they that is the right amount of information for that stage of a deal, delivered in the right amount of time with the right amount of specificity, where you can call on somebody and say, where are you on that? And they go, I need some time. For what? Because I'm not asking you to write a check or wire. I'm asking you to say, I'm interested in this and I've got enough capital overhang to do something for this. If everything you said is true and the yield, the exit strategy, the yield return on investment, the diligence, is available, the track record came true, the management team is really what you said it was, and this deal is actually what you said is, A, I've got the capital, and B, it would make sense for what we do. That's all I'm asking you to say, right? And if you're still scratching your head, it's a no. So I do go a little bit harder in the paint up front in that way, but it's much more high stakes.
Right.
And much more really, truthfully, adversarial. And so I lose a lot of people. But what I do gain with that methodology is people going, oh shit, like this is a real deal.
Yep.
Right? If I want to be involved with this guy in this deal, I'm not controlling. I have to up my game.
Right.
Right. And I'm not going to be able to direct, because the last thing I would say, and I say this on every podcast, and you may experience this, 14 out of 15 people that you meet in these kinds of environments who say they have money don't.
Yeah.
So I put it all on the table. I go, hey man, where are you? And I'm thinking, I go, that's what people have no money say. I go, and I get it wrong 1 out of 100 times,
right.
But I know what people who have no money say. I do this a long time.
Yep.
And that's what they say.
That's correct.
Right. And so don't do that to yourself, man. It's okay. Just be honest. Say, hey, I'm not capitalized to that deal. I'm going to stab you. I'm going to scratch your car. I'm going to put a bad social media on you. I'm going to despair. No, there's deals I don't have money to do. People pitching me. I go, we don't have the capital to do that. It looks really exciting. Just say I don't have the capital. Don't lead people on. So I try and give people as much honesty as they can humanly handle without completely melting down. But much more high stakes. I like this slow, percolating, social way of doing it that you've described.
Yeah, it's again, there's different situations. So you're right. And when it comes to, if, for instance, if I saw that person again, same person, then yes, I'm going to go and pitch my deal as I learned from you, from your books and from your courses here and your trainings here, is how to have that elevator pitch that's so dialed within 40 to 150 words and get them to be like, hold on a second. If you don't have a frame collision there where they go from I'm the authority to now, wait, what's this kid? What did that kid just say?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to do that. So yes, I agree with you on that. And when you're trying to go raise money, if you don't ask for the money, then you're not going to get the money.
Just wrote this to myself. Today, it's not like it used to be when I was coming up where you would stumble into stuff. Everything today, and I want to finish off with this because I'm getting the hook on time. Everything is intentional. There's not, hey, you tell somebody what you do and they go, yeah, I'd like to learn more, send me a deck. And then you send it to them and they go, oh, that's really exciting. Why don't I give you a call? And nothing happens today because the social media and the email and everything is programmatic. When you see a snowstorm in Los Angeles and a snowplow come by and it dumps a ton of snow on a car, right? And then you see like somebody in the car and they open the door, right? And it's all perfectly filmed. The neighbor didn't catch that by accident. That is a viral, that is advertising something, right? You just figure out what it's advertising, but there's nothing actually viral. Okay, great. A barge broke away and blew down a $20 million bridge. Sure. But nothing is viral. Everything is intentional. So the things you're doing have to be programmatic. And yield this result. And I bet if we saw you in the wild in this 100-person event, we would really see you do it very naturally. We're sitting here under the lights, and I'm going, show me. And you're like, I heard this comedian, and he's my favorite situation. He's after the show, I go to the bar, I meet a girl, and she's, oh, you're the funny guy. Tell me a joke. And he's like, when I'm on stage and like people are drinking and I've got my material prepared and I'm like fresh and I have a set and people are expecting me to tell jokes like that joke, right? Hey, funny guy. So I'm doing the same thing. Hey, money raiser, you like raise some money from me. But I bet if we saw you and talking to you out in the wild, it would feel like very natural and flowing and organic.
Definitely. And I'll add this as we can top this off is one of the things that I learned from you that made a major difference was attracting people to me. And I should have worn your socks. I'm wearing my Vegas Gold Night socks, but I should have worn your Never Be Needy socks. I wear them. Actually, that's funny. Every time I go into a big deal, I always wear.
That's awesome.
I always wear your Never Be Needy socks.
Thank you for doing that.
The main thing is how do I attract people, which is I never thought I was gonna be a social media guy, but apparently I am now. And how do I attract people? It's by posting 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day so that on their LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, they see me more. And then now I get people reaching out to me. It took a long time to build that. But I think, again, as the listeners are listening to this, is you need to start now. You need to start yesterday.
For sure. You've come a long way and you're smooth and your delivery is good. And the last thing, I want to say is you're getting to a point as you're saying stuff. I know because I'm in the same business as you. I know you've said it before again, but it feels original and spontaneous and extemporaneous. And there's some serendipity happening, but you also know your material. And that's where you want to be, where it feels like there's serendipity, but you do have some core quality material that you're pulling from and you're working hard to deliver it for people in a way that feels fresh to them. And that is something like my brother, or some people would say that's manipulative. For me, I would say it's a gift.
Yeah.
Because it's somebody not saying some random things that just pop off their head to try and impress you in some way. It's somebody that's repackaging something they know is good, stable ideas to fit the situation you're in. I wish everybody would work that hard when they were talking to me.
Right.
So awesome. Mikey, thank you for coming and making the effort to be here. Where are you, in town, or how did you get here?
Flew in from Houston. So I fly out tonight.
Excellent.
I go speak at an event in Salt Lake City tomorrow.
Awesome.
And so then I'll be back home in Houston the day after that.
We're rooting for you. I want to meet these future kids that you're working on. Nothing better than having a family. And it really is warming to know that that's in your plan. and make that intentional.
Yes.
Because you'll be nothing happier than to share all these results you're making with a family.
I just read your book for the 74th time.
Oh, nice.
Pitch
Yes.
anything on the way here. I did
Nice.
a little recap on it.